So what's in the news this week? Some of you may have seen it. It's been in various shooting articles and posted on forums and that sort of thing. Basically, the way they're going to regulate firearms is changing. They want to set it so the Home Secretary just contacts the police. Whatever the police want, she basically, has some oversight, but she'll then, choose or, go ahead with whatever they decide. Now, of course, this has been purported to meaning that the police are just setting the law, which isn't entirely true, but there is a certain truth to that. I mean, it is quite disturbing when you think that the police are allowed to actually create law and make it up as they go along. But of course in the UK we're no stranger to this, because this has already been happening to a large extent. A lot of local constabularies ignore the Home Office guidance. West Mercia, where I am, they ignore the local, the Home Office guidance for firearms by requiring people to have mentors for centre-fire calibers in the field, for instance. In fact, in West Mercia they do it for 17 HMR, which is a rimfire caliber. They've got absolutely no legal right to do that. But of course they know you've got no way of really fighting back unless you're in Basque, which is why I always say be in Basque. But they know other than that you're screwed, so you have to do whatever it is they say. And so some people have said this new regulation, or way of doing regulation should I say, is a positive thing, because it means that constabularies all over the country will have to abide by the Home Office guidance. It should put an end to that. It should put an end to them making up the rules as they go along. But of course the trouble with that is the reason it's putting an end to it is because they get to make up the rules nationally, wherever they like. They can just decide. They just say to the Home Secretary, yeah, this is what I want, and it'll go ahead within reason. Now, of course, there's no democratic oversight to this. You don't have a say as a voter, as a citizen of the UK. You have no right or ability to influence that in any way. When there's an election, you don't vote for the political party, you don't vote for the Home Secretary, you vote for your MP. And your MP, whether it's Labour or Conservative or Lib Dem or UKIP or whatever it is that they are, that MP has no influence over what the Home Secretary decides in this system. So it's very concerning indeed. I know, I'm flabbergasted that this could even be considered. I suppose this is what happens when you live in a country where you have no constitutional rights, or seemingly basic human judicial rights. I mean, what's going on? But yet it's going ahead anyway. And no one will care, of course, because this is the UK. People don't care. This is why you've got to sign the petition. There's a petition, I'll put a link to it in the description. Get on that. At least if we can get it to 10,000 signatures, the government have to respond. We may at least get it into the media. We may at least be able to get people to understand why this is important, because whether you shoot or not, if we're having important regulation like this, not having any kind of democratic oversight, we're living in a dictatorship. This isn't, this isn't a liberal democracy anymore. So we need to get on that. Aside to this, to give you an example of the sort of regulation that's coming through, I heard a case recently of a guy who'd gone to his doctor, and not for any particular reason, just to check up, he got a cold or whatever it was. And the doctor, as they often do, said, how much do you drink, how much do you smoke, we just need to update our records. And he said, oh yeah, I have a couple of beers most nights. And they put that down. Next thing, police come round, took his guns off him. Because you see, there's a new regulation which has started on April the 1st, which means they put a marker now on your medical records saying that you're a firearms owner. The idea being that at any time, if your doctor wants to report something about you, whether it's depression or drug or alcohol problems or whatever, they can inform the police. Now, of course, on the outside, it sounds sensible, doesn't it? But of course, this example of this gentleman proves the point of how this power is being taken to the extreme. Because, I don't care who you are, having a couple of beers every night is unhealthy. Of course, it's unhealthy. But it's not something that should prevent you from owning a firearm, for goodness sake. I mean, where do you stop with this? You go to the doctor and say, oh, I have a couple of beers most nights. The doctor says, well, we're going to have to take your driving licence away from you, because obviously you can't own a car. You'll go and drink and drive. I mean, generally, in a free democratic country, we would wait for that person to go and drink and drive and get caught doing it, and then we would punish them for it, just like we should be doing with firearms. And it's not like he's a chronic alcoholic who's, beating his wife or something and he's like out of control and he might do something crazy. He's just a normal guy who has a drink. That's really, really concerning. And of course, how far will this go? As I said, there's no oversight. We have no power in this. And who's going to see these medical records? I mean, not only your doctor will see it, but his secretary will see it, your dentist will see it. Anybody who handles paperwork in, in the sort of your local GP will know about this. They will know that you have access to firearms. They could tell other people. Other people may then, could prevent a security risk. So that's really concerning. But the real point is, what will this achieve? What it'll achieve is, people who shoot, who need help, will not seek it anymore because they'll be frightened. They won't want to go to the police because they've got a drink problem, or they're a bit depressed, or because of, whatever. They're not going to do it, are they? I mean, could you imagine any other problem, social problem, being handled in this way? I mean, for instance, it's quite common in certain cities to give out condoms to underage teenagers. Because the idea being, well, if they're going to have sex anyway, give them condoms, because, quite rightly, we don't want them to get pregnant and get AIDS and whatever else. That's a progressive, thing to do, because if they're going to do it anyway, at least give them some protection. But this firearms regulation is the equivalent of giving out the condoms to the teenagers, but then saying as soon as you give them out, you phone their parents and say, oh, did you know little Johnny or little Susie, I don't know, she's just come and got some condoms, she's probably going to be having sex, better do something about that. We don't do that, do we? Just like we don't do it with drug addicts, where we give out free needles. We don't then, as soon as they come to collect the needles, arrest them, because what would that achieve? It would achieve that teenagers who want condoms would no longer go and get condoms. Drug addicts who want clean needles would no longer get clean needles. And in exactly the same way, people who shoot, who've got some sort of problem that they need help with, are not going to go and get the help. And then the police won't know that there's a problem, the doctor won't know there's a problem, and it will be exacerbated and it will get worse, and it could become an actual problem. That guy who has a couple of beers every night, maybe he has got a problem. Maybe over time it'll get worse. That same guy now, especially who's read this story, is not going to go to the doctor, he might start drinking more, might develop more of a drink problem, then it might be an actual problem. So this is crazy. And this is what we've got to look forward to if you don't sign this petition. Not that I necessarily think it'll change it, but we've got to do something, because this is crazy. We're being treated like we're, guilty before we've done anything wrong. And it's going to get people killed. Frankly, it is. Because, I hate to use, to swear, but shit happens, doesn't it? Well, you say your dad died, right? Your dad died. You just want to go to the doctor and say, even just, is there some counselling I can get? Or can you put me on Prozac for a few weeks while I sort out his affairs because I can't cope and I need to get this done? No one's going to do that anymore. That same person could go crazy and then go and shoot up whatever or do something bad. And it's going to be the Home Secretary's fault, and it's going to be the fault of the police for this stupid legislation. And it's legislation that we've got no right to influence in any way. So sign the petition, write to your MP, do whatever you can, share this video. So yeah, I don't like to come on a sort of morbid note this week, but this is quite shocking. When you take these things together in context to see what it really means, it's a real worry. But either way, I hope you enjoyed that. I should hopefully be out pigeon shooting on Saturday, weather permitting. Like and subscribe.